Android Studio, interview questions and answers. Beginner means advanced. Introduction. Android Studio is the official integrated development environment, IDE, for Android application development, developed by Google. Android Studio is widely used for check. Android app development. Check. UI design. Check. Debugging. Check. Performance profiling. Check. APK generation. Android Studio provides COC, Intelligent Code Editor, COC, Emulator Support, COC, Gradle Integration, Debugging Tools, COC, Layout Designer, 1 to 20. Android Studio Basics. What is Android Studio? Official IDE for Android application development. Who developed Android Studio? Google. What language does Android Studio support?
Java,
Kotlin, C++. Why use Android Studio? Official Android support, emulator integration, intelligent coding tools, Gradle build system. What is IDE? Integrated Development Environment, Software Development Kit. What is Android SDK? Tools and libraries for Android development. What is Gradle? Build automation tool used in Android Studio. What is project structure in Android Studio? Check, app, manifests, Java, Kotlin, Res. What is Android manifest.xml? Configuration file describing Android application. Manifest example, application. Single screen in Android application. Basic activity example, class main activity app compat activity. What is fragment? Reusable UI component inside activity. What is intent? Messaging object for component communication. Intent example, start activity, intent this, home activity class.java. What is emulator? Virtual Android device for testing apps. What is AVD? Android virtual device. What is APK? Android application package file. What is app signing? Digitally signing Android applications. 21 to 40. UI and layouts. What is XML layout in Android? Basic XML layout. Text view. Android text. Hello. Common Android layouts? Linear layout. Relative layout. Constraint layout. Frame layout. What is constraint layout? Flexible modern Android layout system. What is RecyclerView? Efficient list rendering component. What is ListView? Older list display component. RecyclerView versus ListView. RecyclerView is more flexible and efficient. Binds data to UI components. RecyclerView adapter example. Class user adapter. RecyclerView.adapter. What is view binding? Type safe access to UI views. What is data binding? Binding UI directly with data models. What is toast message? Toast make text, this, hi, toast length short, show. What is snack bar? Modern lightweight notification message. What is resource folder? Layout, drawable, values, bitmap. What is drawable resource? Images and graphics resources. What is strings.xml? Stores application text resources. What is themes.xml? Defines app styling and themes. What is dark mode support? Supporting light and dark themes. What is localization? Supporting multiple languages. What is density independent pixel? DP. Unit for consistent UI sizing. 41 to 70. Android components and architecture. What is Android lifecycle? Sequence of activity fragment states. Common activity lifecycle methods. Check on create. Check on start. Check on resume. Check on pause. On create example. Override fun on create. Saved instance state. Bundle. What is service in Android? Background task component. What is broadcast receiver? Receives system-wide events. What is content provider? Shares app data between applications. What is view model? Stores UI-related data lifecycle aware. What is live data? Observable lifecycle aware data holder. What is MVVM architecture? Model, view, view model. Why use MVVM? Separation of concerns. Testability. Maintainability. What is Room database? Room entity example. At entity, data class user. What is DAO in Room? Data access object. DAO example. @DAO interface user DAO. What is retrofit? HTTP client library for APIs. Retrofit example. @get users. What is JSON parsing? Converting JSON into objects. Common JSON libraries, JSON, Moshi, KTNX serialization. What is coroutine in Kotlin? Lightweight async programming mechanism. Coroutine example. Launch. Why use coroutines? Non-blocking, efficient async handling. What is dependency injection? Providing dependencies externally. Common DI frameworks? Hilt, Dagger, Coin. Dependency injection library for Android. What is Work Manager? Background task scheduling API. What is foreground service? Service visible to users during execution. What is Jetpack Compose? Modern declarative UI toolkit. Compose example. Text, hello. XML UI versus Compose? Compose uses declarative Kotlin-based UI. What is navigation component? Handles app navigation flow. 71 to 100. Advanced Android Studio concepts. What is debugging in Android Studio? Finding and fixing application issues. What is breakpoint? Pauses execution during debugging. What is logcat? Android logging system viewer. Log example. Logd tag, message. What is profiler in Android Studio? Performance monitoring tool. CPU profiler. Memory profiler. Network profiler. What is memory leak? Unreleased memory causing excessive usage. Common causes of Android memory leaks. Static references. Context leaks. Long-lived listeners. What is ProGuard R8? Code shrinking and obfuscation tools. What is multi-dex? Splitting app methods into multiple dex files. Application not responding. Error. Causes of ANR. Blocking UI thread. Long-running operations. What is Firebase integration? Using Firebase services in Android apps. Common Firebase services. Authentication. Check. Firestore. Check. Analytics. Crashlytics. What is push notification? Notification delivered from server to device. What is FCM? Firebase Cloud Messaging. What is Play Store deployment? Publishing app to Google Play. Common Android Studio interview topics? Check. Activity lifecycle. Check. RecyclerView. Check. MVVM. Check. Retrofit. Check. Room. Common Android development problems. Memory leaks, crashes, lifecycle issues, network handling. Best practices in Android development? Use MVVM. Avoid blocking UI thread. Use dependency injection. Adapting UI across devices and screen sizes. What is accessibility in Android? Supporting users with disabilities. What is testing in Android Studio? Verifying app correctness. Common Android testing tools. JUnit, Espresso, Mockito. What is CI/CD for Android? Automating builds and deployments. Common CI/CD tools. GitHub Actions, Jenkins, Bitrise. How to become strong in Android Studio. Check. Build Android apps. Practice MVVM. Learn coroutines and compose. Biggest Android Studio interview concept. Modern Android architecture and lifecycle management. Key Android Studio interview focus. UI, lifecycle, MVVM, async programming, and app optimization. Why is Android Studio popular? Official Android IDE with powerful development and debugging tools. Final summary. Android Studio interviews focus on activities and fragments, Android lifecycle, RecyclerView and UI design, MVVM architecture, room and retrofit, coroutines and async programming, dependency injection, debugging and optimization. Key idea. Strong Android developers understand lifecycle-aware architecture, modern Android tooling, and scalable mobile application development.